Today we're going to be picking up from where we left off on the NASDAQ 100, and as usual we'll be using the volume profile to assist with our trades moving forward. So let's just get straight into it, right? So last week when I did this recording, there's a number of things that I was expecting from market to do, okay? And market obviously did what it was going to do as always. So just as a brief recap, right? Just to save you the suspense and everything else. Last week's video, which was we had market leaving a low volume node. At the time, it was a low volume node. Now, not so much, right? So we had price leaving that low volume node. And I was of the mindset that price was going to come down even lower. As a matter of fact, let me just take a quick look. Okay, correction, right? During the recording, because on this one the time will reveal all. Right, so on this recording, price was leaving this low volume node area right here. Okay, so I was off the mindset that price was gonna go up, but however, the low volume node that we had at the top that I've just deleted, I believe that price was going to reject off that level, and you could potentially start looking for sales in that location. I said something around those lines, right? Basically meaning that this whole thing was going to be a range. Now it turns out not to be the case. So what happened was price bounced, went through the low volume node that I had there not too long ago, did a pullback back into this area that you could say is a low volume node, right? And then blasted back off again into the upside, and that's what we have right now. So we have price in the upward trajectory moving up, right? And so far so good. It's kind of in line with what I said, but I'm not going to take full credit for it doing what it did, because a part of me still feels that I was still more leading towards it being a sell-off supposing to a buy. I could turn around and say that yes, I always knew this was going to happen, but no, that's not the vibe I'm going off from. I'm going off the vibe of this whole thing over here that I was seeing. I was leaning more towards market selling off, the market continuing to push up, because some of the levels that I'm expecting price to come back to, it hasn't done that, right? So I'm expecting price to come back down to this value area, high area right here. I'm expecting it to break down, and it hasn't done that. So that was one of the things I was not hoping for, but I was waiting for. So with that said, what I'm going to do is I am going to put a trend line right underneath this level right here, okay? Because what I want to know is if price does decide to break down, I kind of want an early warning signal to it, right? And not only that, is that good? Yeah. Whoops, I don't know what I did there. Okay. And not only that, I would want to see how it breaks. So normally when I do a trend line, I could actually use the ray. Actually, no, as a matter of fact, the ray is a lot better. It will save me all of this. It literally will save me all of this. So let's do it from here. And let's just add it like this. Bear with me a moment, guys, as I try to, you know what I mean? Okay, so I wanted to get this one in there as well, but I couldn't. So these three are in, so that's cool. So what I want to do is I want to see what happens, and if price breaks around 23.38, okay, because we have a low volume node in this area. It's actually leaving that low volume node area right now. It's a weak one, it's not a strong one, but it is leaving that zone right now. So let's have a quick look. That's it right here. So it's leaving this zone, pushing to the upside. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump into the delta settings real quick, just to have a quick look to see. Okay, so we've got a seller up here, or we've got sellers. I always try and make it sound like there's one person up there. There's not. So we have 17,000 sales sitting at around 23140.4. Around that zone, right? 23. Around that zone, we've got 17,000 sellers. So that's a mixture of stop losses and passive orders. And then below that, we have 19,000 buys, and then below that we have 50,000 buys, and right here, between this zone right here, we have 342 buys sitting there, just here, right? And then underneath that, we have about 1,000 sellers just sitting there, waiting to see what's going to happen. So that's what we got going on right now. So if I get a close, if I get a close below this level right here, right? So if I get a close below this level right here, which is 23,009.8, I'm not going to immediately start thinking that it's time to start selling. I would want to see this trend line broken. And where the trend line is broken is also going to be super important. So this is what I mean by, with volume profile and other additional technical analysis, when you lay them on the charts, it makes life a little bit easier in terms of what you're seeing, how you're seeing it, and how you can kind of plan your approach when certain conditions are met. So you're not just flying into the market and hoping for the best. You're waiting for certain things to happen, and then you get in. And then once you do, even if you are wrong, you applied logic to your moves before you got in. So even if you are wrong, you can still learn from it, okay? Rather than just hopping in anywhere, because just by doing that, the only thing that you learn is how to psychologically manage all the losses you're taking, and it doesn't necessarily have to be like that. All you have to do is just take the time, learn the game, or just learn the basics of the game, right? And in all fairness, you'll be good. The basics of the game is enough to actually get you through, in all fairness, right? In all fairness, well, that's what I feel anyways. I'm a strong believer of that. So, okay, right. So with that said and done, we are going to let's have a look to see what else we can talk about on here, because market is just moving in one way. We've already got our safety level checked in as market begins to surge. Okay, so what can we look out for today? Well, it is real simple. For today, depending on what you want to do and how you want to do it, okay, you could wait to see if price is going to close below this low volume node area over here, right under here. I don't know why I was hitting that, but right over here, okay. And to take buys, right, okay, we want this level up here knocked out. Okay, we want this level up here knocked out. Reason why we want this level up here knocked out before we even take buys, right, it's because we might have a channel forming up here. Okay, we might have a channel forming up here, right? And obviously we're looking at this on the 1 hour, so we kind of want to be careful. So we got a channel forming up here. We could have a channel forming up here, by the way, right? And if we're looking for sales, you kind of want to take them from under here. But at the same time, this is where we have to put our safety net. Our safety net has to be over here, right? And if this stop loss is triggered, this is in conjunction, if you're taking a sell, do absolutely nothing, because this was the early bird that you wanted to get in to ride it down. If that is rejected, because this is a channel, if it actually does become a channel, right, then you want to stay out, even if it comes below this level down here, and you want to wait to see what it's going to do. Because it coming all the way down here, all right, I don't think these sells is enough to send it down, right? Because we do have sells in this area right here. I don't think it's enough to send it down. I just think it's going to go down just because it's going to go down, right? So in my opinion, if you start to see price is in a channel especially for this week. My recommendation will be to wait and see what it does, right? If it blasts through again, you're going to get a retest at this level if this low volume node hasn't changed. If it's still a low volume node, then you can expect to see a retest at this level right here, which will be 23072.7. So once you get that retest, you can ride it to the upside. It's simple as that. It's as simple as that, folks. It's as simple as that. So with that said and done, first off, if you stayed with the content up until now, I definitely appreciate you. So thank you very much for doing so. Okay. Just because obviously these videos do take a little bit of time to make, even though I'm saying everything off the dome, so I don't have a script. This is exactly what's in my head being translated out onto the screen for you guys to watch with a bit of editing here and there. If you do find it useful, make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on the notification, and drop us a like. And I will see you all on the next one.